There we are. Hey, Sebastian, how you doing?
Oh, hello, Sean. I'm doing well. How's it doing with you?
I'm okay, man. I finally got a break for the Thanksgiving holiday, so I was finally able to breathe a little bit. You know.
Of course.
How about you?
I'm just doing well. Thanks for willing to do this, Sean.
Of course, man. Yeah, anytime. I'm honored, man. Thank you so much for having me on your
Of
show. Really,
course,
dude. That's awesome.
of course. To be honest with you, your first name, Sean, reminded me of an old friend that I've interviewed with 3 years ago.
Oh,
And his name is Sean Rahani.
yeah, Sean Rohani.
To be honest, I'm the reason why he gotten into more shows for, because of
Really?
my intuition helping him out.
That's
Because
awesome, dude.
because of me, he is able to get himself into a lot of projects, ones that you yourself he was also in,
Yeah.
which you were in it too. And
Oh,
and that's why, and he wasn't the only one. I've helped out many others, from Azak Robinson Smith through Mary
yeah.
Westbrook, through everybody.
Oh man, these are all names of and Sean. I've I've never met Mary. I've never met anyone else, but Sean. We always run into each other in the studios, in passing, really. And I've had a meal with him one or two times. I can't remember. Sorry, Sean, if you're watching this, but we always just say, "Hey, fellow Sean." So we It's good to hear, man. That's awesome that you've talked and met with Sean Rohani. He's
Yeah,
good people.
indeed. And he's a very supportive person of me, a big fan actually, who actually supports the stuff that I've done for 3 years. And and that's why I've come to support him as well. But anyway, I got many questions I've been wanting to ask you. But before that, I
Hmm?
wanted to let you know that I've been getting to know about you because of the show, the Cassandra grades right there.
Cassandra Gray Kuzka.
The
Oh,
Nickelodeon show.
Casagrandes.
Yeah,
Yeah,
because of
yeah.
that sh and yeah, because to be honest, I never knew what anime was back then. But in 2016 is where I discovered anime, and
Hmm.
that's where I discovered all the actors. And recently, that's where I discovered you, Sean, because of the movie Mobile Suit Gundam Seed Freedom. So that's the very reason why I noticed you. Plus, I made a video about the characters and voice actors of the movie, and I
You
included
did?
you in my video as a way
Oh
for
man,
you to
I'll
be
watch it.
recognized. Seba's voiceover world. You check it out, and you're gonna love the video I made for you.
I
Trust
will.
me, you'll know.
Oh,
But now to get started with the questions, but tell me, how is it like being a voice actor in many animated projects and many more yet to come?
it is. It's a dream come true for me. And sometimes I have to remind myself to slow down and pinch myself just to be like, hey, you're doing this. You're doing something that you really love doing. You're getting paid for it. You're able to pay your rent. You're able to pay, car bills and food, groceries. It's awesome to be able to do that, support myself and my fiance as well. On top of that, by doing something I really enjoy. Like when I was a kid, man, I was all into animation and anime, right? Like I remember little like 12-year-old me or 10-year-old me back in the day, being up late at night when I shouldn't have been because my mom would be like, "Hey, go to sleep," and I'd be watching Toonami. You remember Toonami, right?
Oh, trust me, I do. Steve Bloom, of course.
Yeah, Steve
Steve
Blue.
Bloom. That's
Eh,
me.
that guy's awesome. But I grew up watching that stuff, man, and I remember thinking to myself, man, I want to do that. I don't know how, but I want to do that one day. And lo and behold, I'm here. So it's a pretty much a big dream come true for me, man. Just being able to lend my voice and some creative choices, whether it's for dubbing or whether it's for an original animation like Casagrandes. It's pretty it's pretty freaking cool, I gotta say. Um, so I'm very pleased.
I see. Which leads me to the most important question.
Jeez.
How did you get into voice acting? And what is
Ah,
the best decision you made so far that has excelled into your voice acting career? For what purpose?
I got into voice acting by accident. So I mean, I always wanted to do it. I just didn't know how to get into it. But when I back when I was in college, I remember back. This was what 2000 when I graduated 2011. I was an actor. I'm looking for work. It was really rough. It's this industry is either feast or famine, and it's very, very difficult and challenging to just get started, right? Just to get the ball rolling. So I had the pleasure of being part of the show in where was it? It was near Manhattan Beach in the El Segundo area, um, and it was a dance show. But I wasn't a dancer, mind you. I am not a good dancer, but they needed somebody to be kind of like an MC, a host, hype man to introduce the dance numbers for their show. It was kind of like a ballet, really. And there I was doing my thing, hey, look at that, amazing, blah, blah, blah. And one of the dancers was this older gentleman. And I'm not going to drop names, but he came up to me during rehearsal one evening and just mentioned, "Hey, you have a wonderful voice. Da 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 da. You're talented. You should consider doing voice acting." And I'm like, "I would love to. I just don't know how." And he gave me his card. And lo and behold, he was the reason I got into my very first voice acting job. And I had no idea. I called his office. They set up the schedule to have me come in to audition for this video game. And I went in thinking, oh boy, here we go. First audition for a voiceover. It's a video game. It's a union job. Oh man. And I did it. I was, I mean, you know about the voiceover world. You're in behind a microphone, you're in a booth, right? You're isolated. You look at the glass on the other side is the director, the engineer, and it went silent for a minute. I'm like, what's going on over there? And again, I was super green at the time. I had no idea what was going on. So I'm just looking over there to my right through the window, through the glass, being like, is everything okay? And then all of a sudden they're like, "Oh, okay, Sean, we're gonna keep going." What do you? And I asked, "What do you mean?" Yeah, oh, you got the job already. What? I thought this was an audition. No, no, no. This is you got the job. We're gonna keep recording. I'm like, "Oh, whoa, cool. I told them, let me breathe for a minute. Let me call my agent at the time and let them know. So, and lo and behold, that turned out to be Assassin's Creed. So Ubisoft game, right? Big major title, pretty awesome. So when I found out that it was Assassin's Creed, I was already a fan because I'm also a gamer. Dude, you can imagine, I was over the moon, right? I was really, really excited. I was super happy. I was like, oh, it's a victory finally after all this time of auditions and nothing. Finally, something came to fruition. So that is how I first got into voice acting by accident.
Wow, that's a very interesting thing that I'm beginning to learn from you. To be honest, there are two things I'd like to tell you.
Yeah.
Number one is that what you said about how you got into voice acting by some random guy reminded me of how I got my first ever audition for this guy named Doug Crawford when he lent me a hand in his thing called BMP Logic, and I did a lot of voice recording for him. And boy, it took me days to improve it right there. And man, if you look on my Instagram, I put it on
Yeah.
my voice audition thing, and trust me, you'll love it. You'll love everything that about my voice acting yet to come.
Yeah.
But
You had mentioned that you want to do, or you are in voiceover, right? You do
I
voiceover?
am. It's just to be honest, the only goal I have to do is get myself out there so that when I get into more opportunities, I can finally have the chance to be in a real project, a real anime or video game project, so I can not only to just be in it, so that I can connect with all the voice actors that I wanted to be friends with.
Yes, dude, that's a great goal. And I'm telling you right now, it's not impossible. It's you can do it. And kind of what I was telling you when we first met via email, um, and just when I started watching a couple of your videos on your YouTube channel, right? I just I got to tell you, Sebastian, you have an amazing infectious energy in a good way, right? As opposed to like somebody who's kind of like trying to trickle in. You've got a great energy about you and this positivity, man, that I really feel would lend well to voiceover because I mean, I started in theater. I love theater. I do on camera stuff as well. Um, but I got to tell you, man, I am so grateful to be in the voiceover community because I'm not going to say everybody, not to generalize to say that on camera folks or theater folks are kind of like not stuck up. But what I'm trying to say is everyone I have ever met in voiceover, whether it's the director, producer, the engineer, the adapters, whoever it is, they've been nothing but kind, generous with their time. I could probably reach out to somebody like Jim Cummings and ask for some advice, and he would most likely graciously answer me in time, obviously because he's a busy man, but he would most likely answer me and give me that advice. That's how generous and kind this community is, and I'm all for it, man. I love that, and that's something that I tell because I teach as well. I teach acting for on camera theater and voiceover, and that's something I tell all my students, whether they're kids or adults. I tell them, stay kind. Stay kind. That is the number one rule. Even if you mess up, even if you made a quick mistake, just be kind. I guarantee you that they will probably overlook those mistakes and continue working with you. So I see that with you, Sebastian. It's a long-winded thing to say, just to say, yeah, man, you could do it because you have this positivity about you and this kindness. So
Yeah.
keep doing it, man.
Of course. To be fair, you were the only one I was able to get in touch with before anyone else. Because guess who I was able to interview before anyone else could?
Who?
Mick Lauer. Mick
Really?
Lauer. Yeah. I'm like the only person who got to interview him before anyone else could. And they're like, how is this possible? And I was like, simple. All I did was just email through his website and he just recognized me. And that's where I interviewed him. And well, he followed me throughout social media, through Blue
Uh,
Sky and everything. And well, here I am. But, before that, I just wanted to tell you the second thing, but since you mentioned the video game Assassin's Creed, I was gonna ask you the question about what was your first ever character that you get to be in, but since you said Assassin's Creed, you make this 10 times easier as I thought. And that's where it led me to believe that, man, you really read my mind all of a sudden. But I'm just trying to be fair with you, but it's all just in case if I ever do a voice showcase for you just like I've done it for everybody else, like I'm doing it for Keith Sarabaja right now, as a way to, help everyone be recognized. That way, with chronological order, means more positivity in the community yet to come.
yes.
So that's something I wanted to tell you. But anyway, about the characters of the questions, but in the show Oku, The Inner Chambers, what
Ooh.
was your favorite part about playing Fujinami?
Uh, okay. So that one was interesting because not to say like I thought it was horrible or anything, because one, I love working with Carrie Carradine. She's an amazing actor, an amazing director, dear friend as well. And that's probably my favorite part, being able to work with somebody that I enjoy working with, like Carrie. But as far as Fujinami goes, that character. that character was creepy, right?
Creepy.
Yeah, he was pretty creepy. And I'm telling you now, Sebastian, I've been playing bad guys and I play a lot of villains, okay? Just because I guess that's just the nature of the sound of my voice. I don't know. I'm really a nice guy, everybody, I promise. But I play a lot of villains, and that was one of them. Obviously, he was pretty creepy in the sense, especially with the whole. It was implied. They never showed it, but it was implied that he took advantage of the. I'm forgetting the one of the main characters' names because it was so long ago. But there was that aspect of it that was a bit uncomfortable. And I'm no stranger to playing those types of roles, but it's just if every once in a while you find one that's just a little. Whew, I need like a drink of water after you do it, right? I need a good drink after I do it. Um, but I would say my favorite part about playing Fujinami, one, is to be able to do something that does make me feel uncomfortable, right? But do so in a professional manner, because that's what we do, right? That's our job. We're given the context. We're not allowed to judge. We can judge, but we usually don't judge the characters, right? So Fujinami was a guy. He wanted to get ahead. He wanted to be able to, uh, you know, keep his power essentially within the Oku, right? So that's how I approached it. So being able to tackle an uncomfortable choice, such as the way that anime portrayed it, was pretty cool in a way. But more so, I think just the pleasure of being able to work with Carrie again is always a fun thing. So she's just good people, man.
I see. So that's what you like about being that character. Because all I know is that Carrie Keranen was able to bring you in, and she did a good job bringing you,
Mhm.
along with my friend Chandra Hani in, since he
Yes.
deserved, you and him deserve more love for this. Alongside with the legendary Casey Mongelo, Josh Keaton,
Yep.
and Ann Yatko, who I actually met twice, like
Wow.
1 year ago, and everybody else.
That's awesome. I just
Yep.
ran into Casey the other day, actually, at a rap
It's
party for Pokemon.
Yeah, and I know that Jessica Dikiko was recently part
Yep.
of Pokemon. Plus,
Mm.
she's been part of anime since 2015 for
Oh, yeah.
Bang Zoom.
Oh,
And she
yeah.
wasn't the only one. Josh Keaton was too, you know. He appeared in a Pokemon series once. You know that?
Which one?
It's on Netflix and it has Lori Ellen in it too.
I'm trying to
And
think of which one that is.
it starts with the letter C, but yeah, if you just look up Pokemon, you'll see him right there. Trust
That's
me, I looked up his info, so that's what I wanted to say.
I see.
But anyway, how does it feel about playing Hans Rayhet in Shaman King?
Shaman King was probably that was how many years ago? God, I think that was before the pandemic. I can't remember,
You
but
are
it may have been
correct.
it may have been after. I don't know, but it was a pretty cool character arc for Hans Reichheit, right? Because again, he starts off as kind of like the de facto villain, right? Um, and mind you, this is my fault. I haven't seen the anime.
It's
We don't
okay.
have time to do it. I know. Is it good? Did you enjoy the anime?
Actually, yes, because I met Sean Rahani in it, who's
Right.
also part of it. But as you were saying,
That dude's everywhere. Sean. So Hans Reinhardt was cool because he had a wonderful character arc I liked. Um, because he started off as the villain, right? He had the insane holy weapon, whatever that was, and then he dies. Spoiler alert, sorry. Um, anyways, he gets resurrected, and he becomes like this, almost like a whole new person, right? Because he has a brand new perspective on life, and it's just so neat because as one matures, right, we start to grow new perspectives in life all the time because we were so used to something from when our in our youth we have a certain uh, uh, we have a certain mindset, right? And as we grow and things happen in our lives, whether great things or tragedies, right? We mature from it and we grow stronger from it and we learn from those things, right? So it's very interesting to be able to see that happen in an anime character like Hans Reichheit. I love that shift that he was able to do in it towards the end of that season, I believe. And not to mention, I got to work with Edemons Baroli. Love working with that guy. He's a fantastic director. He's been doing it for a long time. Him and his family. So it was also just another pleasure. Again, I cannot I cannot stress enough how much I enjoy working with the people involved, right? Because everyone is such a sweet person. They're usually very kind. I have yet to meet anybody that's horrible, but it goes in hand with that. So with Hans, it was his character arc that was really neat in the writing, and then also being able to work with some really cool people.
I see. So that's what you like about being that character. Because
Yeah.
all I know is that you did wonderful playing that character, along
Thank you.
with Sean, who was also in the show. But not just him, but with Abby Troit, with Greg Chun, and Dan Green, who is legendary, Michael Certain Nicholas, and everybody else.
Oh
So
yeah.
that's something I do like to say to you. But
Always good.
anyway, how is it like being part of the Evangelion movies as Ryuji Kaiji?
That was nerve-wracking, man. Um, so I grew up watching Evangelion as a kid. I don't remember a lick of it though from that point on, right? Because again, that was a long time ago, and I just remember it being extremely convoluted. But I did find an affinity for Ryoji Kaji, right? Being able to, I always thought he was such a cool character, very calm, collected, even under the insanity of what's happening in that anime, right? I mean, it's catastrophe after catastrophe, right? And he was able to keep a cool head and help his buddies out essentially. So uh, 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 being able to fill in the shoes of some legendary people, like I think prior to me, it was Greg Chun actually who played Ryoji, and I think if I
J.
remember
Michael
correctly,
Tatum.
was it J. Michael Tatum?
It was from behind the voice actors website. It was
Okay,
him and another
okay.
one who I'm trying to get his name right, but different though. But about your character, what do you like about that?
uh, Being able to be part of the Evangelion legacy. That was cool. That was one of those moments in my career where I was just thinking to myself, is this real? This is something that I grew up with. I remember watching the TV just being like, and then this is like little me, right? I'm like under 10 years old, watching the TV saying, boy, I wish I could do that one day. That looks like fun. And here I am playing Ryoji Kaji, and it was pretty surreal, I gotta say. So I think being able to be part of that Evangelion family was everything for me in that moment, right? That was pretty neat.
I see. So that's what you like about being that character. Because
Mhm.
all I know is that you did super awesome playing that character, you know? Especially when you got to meet with Spike Spencer's character himself. And
Yeah,
of course, I got to meet with John Swayze, the actor who
yeah,
does the bad guy, the Shinji's father.
yes.
And in all honesty, there, everyone, I don't care about what English dubbing is there because the other one, there's the Crunchyroll one with
Yeah.
you, and the other one done by Kerry Carnan. And in all honesty, I don't even mind the English dubbings at all. And because I have no opinions, plus I don't do them. I only deal in facts, the facts of what reality is about. That
Mm.
is my way of thinking. So that's something I wanted to tell you.
Oh,
But
okay.
anyway, how is it like playing Cattell in the Vinland Saga?
I love that character, man. Um, the world itself is so cool, right? I started watching season one of Vinland Saga because my friend Frank Tadaro was in it as well as Leif Erikson, right? And it's such a it's such a cool world, and quite a bit of it, from what I understand, I think, was based on a lot of Norse mythology and just history, right? With the Vikings. And Kettle himself, man, Iron Kettle, he is so cool. Iron Fist Kettle, I believe. And he's got this. You know what? It's funny you mention that because I think he's the first character I played where I started getting this trending type of casting for me. Whereas before I was so used to getting these really bad villains and bad guys and people who do just horrible things to people, right? Kettle was the first to kind of like balance that out because he's part, I mean, he is a slave owner, right? Because of the history of the time. But he was also very kind and generous to his slaves at the time. And being able to play this kind of this character who kind of walks that thin line between he could be a villain or he could be very generous and kind and sweet. And he not only that, towards the because I think they're working on the next season now, but in season two, I believe they
Yes.
have aired already. Yes, yeah. So in season two, obviously the way we end up, he's a little more bumbling and more because everything has just fallen apart in his world, right? Everything, his mistress, his wife, his whole land, the debacle with the king at the time, the new king, watching him fall from such a high pedestal, even though he didn't regard himself as like the super human or god or king or anything, but watching him fall in those graces, again, another really neat character arc. And now he's on the run. He's kind of a fugitive too, right? Spoiler alert. God, I keep doing spoiler alerts on your show, man. I'm sorry.
No, it's
Uh,
okay. You're not the only one, Happens to everybody. But
okay.
so you're not the only
I
one who
figured. I
did
figured. I
it.
just
It's
okay.
okay.
I appreciate
But I wanted to say
it.
this,
But
but
Kettle, hmm?
you've been doing well with that character. Especially when you got to be with everybody else there. And of
Oh
course,
yeah.
you interacting with Alex Lee and Kirk Thornton
Yeah.
and all these people right there. And Greg Chon
Kirk's,
narrating it was just
yep.
unique in a way. And if they do a third season, you should be part of it as well when that
I
time
hope
comes,
so.
that is. So,
I
yeah.
hope so.
But anyway, what's the most awesome thing when playing Alexei Kano in Mobile Suit Gundam Seed Freedom?
So that character, again, one of those dream come true moments, right? Where I'm able to
The
be
hero.
part. Well, yeah, I mean, it's kind of a hero, right? He wasn't the main, but he definitely a supporting character to help the hero out. And but just being able to be part of the Gundam franchise again, that legacy, just like Evangelion in that sense. Gundam was one that I grew up watching. When I was a kid, it was Gundam Wing and then Gundam Wing Endless Waltz, and I freaking love those animes. You watch them now, yeah, okay, the writing's a little hokey, but that's just the nature of Gundam, right? And being a part of the Gundam franchise again, I had to just when I was in the booth, I was just like, oh, pinch me really hard and wake me up from this dream, man, because this is cool to be a part of Gundam, right? I mean, I still have a mini collection of them, of the model toys that I used to build as a kid. Um, I bring it with me, but I'd have to take my computer with me, so that won't work to take a look at them. But yeah, man, that I think again, being able to be part of that franchise once more. Not to mention Carrie was directing it. It was Carrie and it was also
Stephanie
uh,
Shea.
Stephanie Shan. Yeah, yeah, exactly. Both of them awesome people to work with, super collaborative. Um, so once more, same thing as with Evangelion, being able to work with cool people and holy cow, I'm part of the Gundam franchise, man. Blows my mind.
I see. So that's what you like about playing that character.
Oh yeah.
Because all I know is that I've seen the movie and that
Mhm.
you did very awesome playing that character. Also, because I did that video for you on my YouTube channel, which I
Man,
like for
I'll
you
have
to
to catch
check
up.
out later. But you know what else? Turns out it's on Netflix right now. And
Is
that
it?
I'm, yep.
I have you to
But,
thank, man, because I haven't seen it yet. I need to watch it. I
well,
missed the
then,
premiere, unfortunately.
well, that's why if you have Netflix, I
Mhm.
suggest you go watch it there then with your son and your family so that you could be able to see you yourself. And that way your son will be like, "That's you?" And you'll be like, "Yeah." And that's something I wanted for you. But anyway, I have two more questions due to the time right there, and
Sure.
I want this to be quick. But what's so awesome when playing Roy's grandfather in Pokemon Horizons, the
Oh,
series?
okay. Again, so Roy's grandfather was really neat. I finally got to work with Lisa Ortiz. Super sweet human being. She deserves anything wonderful in her life. And being able to work with people like Toshi as well and Hillary as producers on this, super cool, right? And like I said, we just had the wrap party for season one. I think that was 2 or 3 weeks ago now. Um, and I really enjoyed that character. One, again, he's not a main character. He's related. He's a supporting character. I'm not going to say if anything happens in the next few seasons or not, but that character himself, again, he is very, very much a grump. All right. I think that's what I had the most fun with. He was just this very crotchety old man where it's like you walk up to the guy, you're going to talk to him. He's very crotchety. What do you want? Get out of here already, Sebastian. What the heck do you come to me for, right? But then he turns out to be this big sweetheart, right? Very generous human being, and he's willing to help the team, the Volt Tacklers, I believe they're called, right? And help Liko and then his own grandson Roy. That the send off, I think it's the last episode I'm in season one, where I send Roy off with the Volt Tackles. I give him my grace, right? My blessing rather. And I'm so proud of him. Being able to see that growth in my grandson, right, in the show, watching him connect and understand what being a Pokemon trainer really means. It's not just catching them all. It's about creating this bond with the Pokemon, and that's what Roy found with Fuecoco, right? And Roy's grandpa sees that, gives him the stern talking to, and then you just see him just relax and give him his blessing and his love as he goes off on this insane adventure that's full of perils and just it's so dangerous, right? Pokemon has always blown my mind that way. But also, so there's that, right? There's a sense of the way Roy's grandfather connects with the other characters, but also, dude, Pokemon? Hello? I love Pokemon. I
Yeah.
grew up with Pokemon, man. I grew up with I think I still have my old Game Boy when it was red and blue, and then I got yellow, and then so on and so forth. So I grew up playing the games. I grew up watching the original anime after school every day with Ash, Brock, and Misty. So I was already a huge fan. So once again, that was another pinch me moment. Uh, and that's one I'm actually very, very proud of. Um, and again, I got to work with some really cool people over at Ayuno. So they're really sweet people. I got to work with Lisa. I got to work with Damon Mills as well because he directed. So just nothing but good all around.
I see. So that's what you like about being in that show.
But yeah,
Because I've known about Pokemon for years. I actually did a Pokemon Bond video yesterday of the characters and
yeah,
voice actors for my good friend Alan Stern Epcar, who I'm going to be
yeah,
interviewing with on Thursday. So, and just know that you being part of it is just too awesome. Because if I was in Pokemon Horizons, I'd be
whew,
doing a character that is connected to who I am as
yeah,
a way for me to, not only to work with Lisa Ortiz, but to finally see just how good of my performance I can really be when the time comes. But anyway, last question to make this quick due to 3 minutes, but I
Ooh.
want this to be quick. But what was your favorite part about being the voice of Corpus in Pharmagia?
Dude, that one came out of nowhere. I had almost forgotten about Corpus because it kind of went under the radar for me at least. I believe Formagia came out on the Nintendo Switch, right?
Yes.
Okay. So I have to play it yet. I haven't played it, and I was only able to see artwork of the character, let alone I haven't able to see anything as far as the gameplay goes. But that character was also cool. Again, such a cool story arc. Big villain, huge bulking creature, something that's very much in my wheelhouse, right? As far as well, usually big brash characters go. But then he turns out to be, well, dang it, spoilers again. Then it turns out to be uh, helping the main characters out, right? The whole group, the Formagias, I believe they're called.
Yeah.
Um, so that was a fun character to play because I love playing these big brash crazy Hulk type characters, right? But they have a heart of gold, and that's what I loved about him, about Corpus. Not to mention, I got to work with Wolfie, Wolfie Troush. He's a sweet human being again. I cannot stress how much he's awesome. Actually, was just talking to him yesterday too.
I
But
see.
yeah, so he's a lovely director, also a wonderful performer. Side note, I gotta work with Wolfie on set for in the Loop group for the new Joker movie,
Sugar
Joker
Felexa
Folie à Deux.
Deluxe.
Yeah, so
Yeah,
we gotta be on the WB lot together, just being crazy people in the background. It was pretty neat. Um, but yeah, it was a fun character, man.
I see. So that's what you like about being that character. Because all I know is that you did very well playing that character. Plus,
Appreciate
an anime adaptation of the game is coming next year.
it. Really,
And if he comes, so will you as well.
I
So
hope
that's something
so.
I wanted to tell you. But
Good to know.
good.
Ooh,
Like I've told to everyone else, in a quick way, when you look back, is there anything you would have done differently when starting your voice acting career? And make it quick before the time expires.
sure. I think I would have pushed harder, made my own decision rather than listening to some of these industry professionals, and just did my own thing and followed my own instincts. Which is anyone else out there doing this, always listen to your instincts. There's some really good information out there, but there's nobody who's going to know better than yourself.
Of course. Thank you for the wise words right there. Sean, it's such an honor to meet you, and I just hope we get to work with each other in the near future when the time comes.
Oh man, I hope. I really do too, man. Thank you again, Sebastian.
Always. And I look forward to seeing you around, my friend.